It's time for Recipe of the Day. Today is National Pack Your Lunch Day, so I have some lunch inspiration for you. So, do you remember when Subway used to have that sweet onion sauce that you could get on your subs? They don't have it anymore, and I know that I still crave it, and so I was on a mission to try to develop a sauce that tasted like it. What I did was to check a whole bunch of recipes online that were copycats, and I tested a bunch of those. I also bought the Ken's Sweet Vidalia dressing, and I tried that, and I know that I'm trying to get something close to that and close to my memory. I can say that the other recipes I tried from online weren't really right. A lot of them called for raw onion and had a very strong raw onion flavor, or they called for a cooked onion and then there wasn't very much onion flavor. So I knew that I had to try and get as much delicious onion flavor as possible, and that is what I was trying to do. I will say that if you go to the recipe on cookthestory.com for the sweet onion sauce, which I will of course put in the show notes for this podcast episode, or you can head to cookthestory.com/ROTD and get it there, or go to cookthestory.com and search for sweet onion sauce. It will pop up. I have included in there my raw onion version in case you want to try that. It is just a little bit easier, a few less steps, but it's just not as good as the cooked onion version. So really scroll all the way down and get the recipe card that has the cooked onion version. You're going to be happier with that. You're going to start by heating a non-stick skillet, just a small one, over medium heat with a little bit of a neutral oil, something like grapeseed or canola. You don't want something with a strong flavor like olive oil here. To that, you're adding 1 large Vidalia onion that you've peeled and sliced thinly and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Cook that, stirring occasionally until the onions are nice and soft and well browned, about 12 minutes. You can adjust the heat lower or higher to make sure they're not burning and to make sure that they're cooking. Then transfer those onions to a blender or food processor with 1/4 cup of water and 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Blend that until it's smooth. Then you're going to set a fine mesh sieve over a bowl and you're going to pour that onion mixture through there. You're straining away all that onion pulp. You just want the liquid. That pulp that is now in the fine mesh sieve, you can use that for other things. You can stir that into your mashed potatoes or add some olive oil and pepper to it and toss it with freshly cooked hot pasta that you drain, maybe a little pasta water added to that. It's going to make a delicious sweet onion sauce, but we don't want that pulp in our sauce because it's not going to be the right consistency. Oh, and I said to strain this into a bowl, but you can actually skip the bowl, dirty one less thing, and strain it directly back into the skillet that you used to fry the onions, because we're going to be heating this again anyhow, so why not? So you're getting that onion liquid without the pulp into that skillet. And you know what? I should just say, when you were straining that, you want to push down on that onion. You want to get as much liquid out of there as you possibly can, and then that liquid going into that skillet, and you are adding 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, regular white sugar, 3 tablespoons of white vinegar, 1 1/4 teaspoons of cornstarch, a teaspoon of onion powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. Whisk that up really well until there are no lumps in there, and then heat the skillet over medium-high heat. You're going to want to be stirring this almost the entire time, really. You're bringing it up to a boil, then reduce it down to a simmer and cook, still stirring constantly, for 2 to 3 minutes. Then take the skillet off the heat, let it cool for at least 30 minutes, and then you're transferring it to a container. You can cover and refrigerate that and use it for a good 5 or 6 days on your subs. I'm just going to say, the one thing that's kind of missing from this is the poppy seeds. If you remember that Subway sauce, there were those little specks of black in there, the poppy seeds. But I tried making this with and without the poppy seeds, and it didn't actually change the flavor at all. And so they're really just there for looks, and poppy seeds are not something that I tend to usually have on hand. And so I decided to just skip them from the recipe, because I don't want you to have to buy something because you see it in this ingredient list that you don't need to buy. But if you want that visual, if you want it to look authentic, and if you have poppy seeds already, go ahead, add a 1/4 teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon of those in there. Just get it to look the way that you want to, because it's not changing the flavor, and you are good. Just stir those in at the end. I will put the link to this recipe in the show notes for this podcast episode, or you can head to cookthestory.com/ROTD and get it there. Everything there is arranged by date, so it's helpful to know that today is March 10th of 2025. National Pack Your Lunch Day. I hope you have a great lunch and a great day. I'm Christine Pittman from cookthestory.com, thecookville.com, the all-new chicken cookbook, and from this podcast, Recipe of the Day. Hope you have a great day. Let's get cooking.